Hello, I'm Darren Magee, and following on from my last video, someone had asked if I would talk about an article I'd written on my website a few years ago about the fear of being wrong. Atychiphobia, which isn't that easy to say. The fear of being wrong, the fear of making a mistake, the fear of being in error, the fear of being less than perfect. Okay? Now, I'm not going to be talking about this from the perspective of narcissism, because I think that's something different. That's not so much the fear of being wrong, that is the need to be right, the need to be perfect, the refusal to be in error. Okay? That's a different subject for another video. Okay? So the fear of being wrong. Now, at its worst, it can stop us, it can prevent us from trying anything new. Okay? That fear of failure, that fear of not getting it perfect. Those underlying things that we say to ourselves, you know, I must know how to do this. I must be perfect at this. I must whatever. And that often leads to like an over analytical kind of thinking. But what if I'm wrong? What if I fail? You know, who's going to say this? What are they going to do about that? It's, you know, how is this going to affect me? You know, it can often lead to like a paralysis through analysis, okay? That becoming risk averse. When you think about being risk averse, you know, we don't want to try anything that we're not fully comfortable with. But the truth is, to try anything at all is to risk failing. But that fear of failing stops us. So what is that actual fear? Well, it could be a lot of things. It could be low self-worth, low self-esteem, you know, a lack of confidence, whatever. But I think it can sometimes be helpful to look at things the other way around. Because if we think of that fear of being wrong, you know, you look at that the other way around, it's not so much the fear of being wrong, it is the fear of being seen to be wrong, the fear of being told that we're wrong, the fear of having our errors and our feelings pointed out to us. It can be that fear of being rejected for not being perfect, for not being able to whatever, up to a certain expectation or standard. Okay? And we can fear others, say, reveling in our misfortune, in our error, you know, drawing attention to it, making fun of us, pouring scorn on us. Because when we look at things like self-esteem and things we put the word self in front of, it's not so much what I think of me, it's what I think others think of me. Imagine somebody on a desert island, all alone, no one there for thousands of miles. Do you really think they're struggling with getting everything right? But that fear of others pointing out our feelings, pointing out our errors, you know, that magnifies it. That makes the failure seem so much greater than it is. It just, perhaps something just didn't go quite my way. Can feel almost crushing, even shameful. Another way it can affect us is it can have us judging ourselves quite harshly, holding ourselves responsible for everything. You imagine, for example, you know, someone's driving along in their car, they get a puncture, so they're late to wherever they're going. You know, they have to change the tire, they have to repair the puncture or whatever, and they're beating themselves up. I should have saw that nail. I should have known it was on the road. I should have been driving more carefully. Now that's quite unrealistic, but some people can do that because they're holding themselves to account for every little thing that goes wrong, even things outside of their control. Another way it can affect us is it can affect our decision making. Again, it's not so much the need to make the right choice, it is the fear of making the wrong choice. For example, you know, you're changing your phone. So you have a choice, iPhone or Android. And it doesn't matter what one you're looking at. You know, someone's looking at the iPhone, it's bright, it's shiny, it does this, it does that, but the whole time they're looking at it, they're thinking of the Android. And so looking at the Android, it's bright, it's shiny, it does this, it does that, but the whole time they're looking at it, they're thinking of the iPhone. And regardless of whatever one they leave with, whatever one they decide to take, there's just that uncertainty, that worry. What if I have made the wrong choice? What if someone says I could have got you a better deal? What if someone says, you know, my phone's better than that? You know, what if I regret this? So where does this fear come from? Well, it's that age-old debate, isn't it? Is it nature? Is it nurture? I think with this, with the fear of making mistakes and so on, I think it's about nurture. Because if you think about it, you know, if we have been brought up, say, in an environment, or if we are in an environment or a situation where we're only valued by how well we can do something, if we're constantly being judged and criticised, you know, we will always be trying to meet those other people's expectations. We'll be trying to, even in the future, you know, we're still living, trying to meet those expectations of having to be right, having to be perfect, having to be whatever. You know, I am only loved if, I am only valued if, I'm only respected if. And I remember a friend of mine, you know, giving me an example of, you know, very hardworking, very academically gifted, very driven person. But I remember them telling me that, you know, at school, coming home with something like 90 out of 100, getting a very healthy A. And their dad was saying to them, okay, your problem is you were aiming for 100%, that's why you only got 90. If you aim for 120%, you would get 100. You know, there was nothing quite constructive in that. There was nothing well done for what you get. You did, you know, for how well you did, for how much hard work you put into it. It was looking at the ones that they got wrong. And that person to this day is still carrying that belief, that need to, you must overshoot in order to get what it is you're looking for. In some ways that can be healthy, but in other ways, if that person was today get 90%, they would be criticising themselves and judging themselves as a failure. So that belief that I am only loved, I am only valued if, you know, again, as I've just said, it's a belief. And our beliefs are either fact or feeling. There's no third one. You can think of a third one, please share it with me, because I can't. It's fact or it's feeling. I must be perfect. Fact or feeling? Perfect at what? What does perfect even look like? I must not make mistakes. Why not? Get a room full of 1,000 people. Ask for a show of hands. Hands up who's ever made a mistake. Count the liars, don't put their hands up. We don't know everything, and not everything goes the way we would like it. And when we are being judged harshly and critically by other people, if it's not being constructive, that's quite abrasive. And it says more about them. Because failing does not make you a failure, any more than going to a church makes you a Christian, or going to a garage makes you a car. It's through our mistakes that we grow, we learn, we develop resilience to things like disappointment, we learn perseverance, we learn how to manage our boundaries, we learn the difference between meeting and managing the expectations, not just the ones we place on ourselves, but the ones others place on us as well. We can see ourselves in a different way, you know, finding an image of ourselves that we're comfortable with. But in order to get to there, sometimes it begins with just giving ourselves permission to try. Give ourselves permission to get it wrong. And accepting 90 out of 100 is a very respectable score. 2 out of 100. At least we had the courage to try. So thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please put them in the comment box below. please click subscribe, or you can contact me. My email is info@sentientcounselling.co.uk. I will do my best to get back to you, and until next time, stay safe, stay well.